With election campaign gaining momentum, obviously, questions about democracy have become more prominent. However, do academics and professors have something new to say or add to this discussion, especially given the fact that in India, every second person is a political analyst in their own right? We think that we indeed have something new to say about democracy. So our claims are fourfold. First, we maintain that neither brisk empiricism nor lifeless data in terms of percentages of swing votes, exit or arrival polls, colorful graphs, charts filled with popularity ratings of politicians, breakup of gigantic data along the lines of region, caste, rural versus urban, and so on, is sufficient to arrive at a humane understanding of politics. Self-congratulatory descriptions that we are the largest democracy is likewise not enough. So is the seduction with immediacy, presentism, or now. Instead, we make subjectivity and lives, human and non-human, lived and unlived, or unlivable, central to any understanding of election and democracy. From an anthropological, sociological perspective, politics is ultimately about life, which is connected to and predicated upon death. Clearly, there is a hierarchy of life as well as of death at work in Indian politics. Second, we claim that integral to politics is the language of warfare. Our understanding of politics in the prevalent vocabulary of welfare alone is thus both inadequate and misleading. This language of warfare pervades politics as much as cricket, two most popular aspects of Indian lives. In cricket, bowlers are massacred, batsman attacks, captaincy is about aggression, fielding is about safety and defense. Recall the headline, Virat Kohli's boys draw first blood in Adelaide. With this description of cricket in mind, also recall the SMS messages exchanged in June 2014 by killers of Mohsin Sheikh in Pune. The killers described the brutal murder of Mohsin as, and I quote, "the first wicket has fallen," end of quote. So our argument is that any understanding of democracy must account for this dialectic of warfare-welfare. This dialectic, the enemy other as representative of the warfare and development as symbol of welfare, operates domestically as well as internationally. Put differently, the dialectic of warfare-welfare is at the core of democracy, not just in India, but also globally. While we maintain that there are many axes of warfare, class, region, caste, language, territory, and so on, we argue that religion is an important phase of this warfare, in which the so-called secular parties also participate, though differently. In other words, Hindutva operates well beyond its official boundary to inform the discourses of almost every other political party, including those who appear to criticize it. Our third claim is that a critical analysis of Indian democracy requires maintaining a healthy distance from its self-discourse so that one can fruitfully examine it with some detachment and objectivity to the extent that it is humanly possible. It is one thing to be attentive to the language of politician, quite another to be uncritically beholden to it. Thus, we must ask why certain terms are not only present but also quite popular, while certain other terms are simply absent. For instance, if we have such a popular concept as pseudo-secularism, why don't we have its logical correlate, pseudo-democracy? Why there is a celebration of democracy across party lines, but rarely such a celebration about secularism? Before longing for or lamenting about Nehruvian era of secularism, we ought to pause and ask, if secularism was really central to Nehru and the Congress, why did not they put it in an Indian constitution? Relatedly, why was secularism inserted in the constitution only in the mid-1970s? Similarly, we have to be vigilant about the chastity of words and the power of new speak. When all mainstream political parties stand for development and they compete with one another to deliver it, how is it that development becomes the hallmark of one single party? Is it then really development in the first place? Or does development mean something entirely new at this juncture in our history? To recall, in the 1950s, development also meant distributing land among the landless. But now it means dispossessing tribal people of their land and habitation, or giving land to big corporate houses for no more than a penny. Our final and fourth claim is that we must set aside the old-fashioned and incorrect ideas about politics and media. The conjunction "and" is no more relevant. What we have instead is politics as media or media as politics. The novelty of our argument and the volume, and we use novelty with ample qualification. There's always a lot of debate about what counts as new. Also lies in the subject the book deals with. Unlike other volumes and previous analysis, we have focused on new subjects and theme. For instance, rumor, media, and democracy. Super rich gurus like Baba Ramdev, crafting of Modi as a Hindutva icon, the so-called Gujarat model of development, electoral polarization in UP, importance of sacred space or river as vote mobilizer in Banaras, BJP's expansion in Tamil Nadu or its limits, RSS BJP's outreach to Muslims, power of money in the media-dominated democracy and place of Adivasis in states like Odisha, a pre-election view of India by a British writer, a comparative analysis of the manifestos of AAP, BJP, and the Congress, and a long conversation about election and democracy with the leading sociologist, Professor T.K. Uman. And I'm very happy to say that he is present here. This, I think, is perhaps sufficient as opening remarks from us as co-editors. We are happy that some contributors are also present here, and if necessary, they would also offer their own reflection in course of the discussion.